Hey folks, Dustin here with another video for the Dustin Dish channel. And in this video, while we have seen a lot of footage at Langan Municipal Park on this channel, this one's a bit different, and that is because the baskets were put into their alternate pin positions for the recent City of Mobile Championships event. And so I wanted to kind of show you these new basket placements because they have not been featured on the channel before. And at the same time, I'm going to do a little bit of an announcement at the end of the video about a really cool project I am working on in relation to the City of Mobile Championships. So without further ado, I'm just going to show you a few shots here and kind of talk you through some of it. So the first is going to be hole 4. Now you can see the little white pole here in the dead center where the normal basket is in older videos, but now it's a little bit shorter, but it's way more to the left and it's really close to the water, which means you have to be a little bit more accurate with your tee shot to make sure that you put yourself in position to put at the basket without the water coming into play, or if so, you're going to have to lay up and just play for par to play it safe. And so we'll roll through the footage. It doesn't really change the throw that much. You hit the same gap, but you just need something to fade left a lot more, and just also make sure though that doesn't fade too far left and go into the water or skip towards the water or anything like that. As you can see here, I have kind of a death putt. There was a headwind, so I aimed low thinking that the headwind would lift the putt, as that's what normally what headwinds do, but unfortunately it wasn't strong enough of a headwind, so my putts were just low. So I wound up par on this hole, but that's fine. Par is pretty good for this. So this is the next thing that is different coming into this course. In the past, hole 5 here, in other footage, we've seen the pin over here, where the white pole is now, but now it's actually even further away, and it's a little bit more to the right, and it's hugging a water line. And so we won't really be able to see that in my tee-off shot, but we'll be able to talk about that here once we get there. So basically, you want something that's going to go further and straighter and not fade as much to the left. Unfortunately, you can't really see this disc because I didn't have a camera person with me to zoom in or anything like that, and it's a darker colored disc, so didn't really get to see that throw, but I'll show you where it was at in just a second. So as you can see, the basket is indeed going to be further back than it normally is, and it's right up against this water line, so putting directly at it from the spot I'm in is very, very risky. You would really want to land somewhere to the right or to the left to have a less risky putt, or obviously you could get closer and then the putt directly at it wouldn't be too risky even with the water behind it. But for me, I'm just laying up here. I don't want any part of that, and so I would take a par actually in this round on this hole. Now this hole is a little bit different. So at the City of Mobile Championships, they actually took out hole B, which you would have seen in other footage from when I played Fling for Wings and just generally speaking. But they took that hole out, and then they combined holes 10 and 11 into a single par 4, and it was a monster of a par 4. I'm not sure how many feet it is, but I know that the holes are just under 400 feet apiece, plus there's space between the hole 10 basket and the hole 11 tee pad. So I would imagine that this might have been like around an 800-foot par 4. So it was a bit of a beast. I think in the City Mobile Championships, there was like 60 or so players in the pro division, and I think only a handful of people birdied this hole. I want to say it was like somewhere between like 4 and 6 players out of 60-something people. So it was a beast. So I kind of wanted to show this because it was interesting. This is not like alt pins like the other things I've shown you or anything like that. But this was just kind of like a special little safari hole that they made for the City Mobile Championship. So we kind of played it for fun here. Nothing was OB except for this ditch along the left-hand side over here. So it was generous in that regard by having a really wide open fairway. But there's definitely a lot of trees all throughout this right-hand side that you can kind of get behind that can definitely make your approaches to the 11 basket very difficult. But without further ado, here's my drive. I just threw a backhand to the right, just trying to kind of stay in the middle of the fairway, but also get a decent amount of distance, which unfortunately, as you'll see in just a second, it wasn't not bad on the distance factor, but it cut me off from the fairway. So I had to do like this crazy forehand because I was stuck behind that tree. And then basically another forehand approach to get up to the basket. Basket obviously is just the 11 basket, normal location. And so just wanted to kind of show that off to you. Now, this is another new pin position. So in old footage on this hole, the basket usually is just under this tree, and you have to kind of play something that's going to get underneath this really low ceiling. Typically, I was playing forehands to the left and having it skip towards the right towards the basket. But with this one, the basket's actually behind this bush and then further back than this basket. So this basket's about 285 or so from the tee box. And so this basket behind the bush, which you just can't see, is about maybe 320 to 330 in distance. Maybe a little less than that. Maybe like 315 at the absolute lowest, but maybe like 325, I would guess. And so you basically have to play something still very low, but instead of it going right to the basket, you have to, flare to the left behind this bush to set up for a birdie putt. Now, this basket hasn't been in this placement for probably like 6 to 8 months. It's been a really long time since this basket has been behind this bush. It hasn't been there since I started this YouTube channel. And back in the day, I never birdied this hole, ever, when I was in this pin position back here. I would always like get inside this bush or just behind it, and I never quite got up to the basket to have like a real chance at a birdie putt. And so this was kind of me just trying to test the waters and see, how much I improved maybe since last time the basket was in that position. And as you can see, sort of, this was perfect height, did exactly what I wanted. Actually wound up flaring to the left, and it was actually right there next to the basket. So it's actually my first time ever birdieing this hole at the long pin position. Now this hole, usually the basket was right here in old footage. Like there's a white post right here, but now it's actually further back, and it's to the right, and it's actually under this big tree that you kind of can see back here. So basically, it requires you to throw either a forehand up the gut and have it go right, or some type of backhand turnover shot. And so that's what I was trying to do here off this tee, just on a backhand turnover with a very understable disc. And unfortunately, it was too understable, and it just went way too hard right, or too early, and so it left me quite short. This is me trying to throw a more stable disc and do the same thing. But unfortunately, this one got caught up in a branch and got knocked down. But now I can kind of show you the approach that you have to take to get up to the basket. Again, old placement was right here. New basket further back underneath this tree. So it requires you, if you don't make it on the tree off the tee, just play something like really low and skip up to the basket to get your par putt, which is what I did here. I just threw a short, low, skippy forehand, and I actually got right behind the basket, and so I was able to tap in my par on that hole. Now this hole, you've seen in footage before several times, but the difference is while the pin used to be here across a ditch, and at like kind of like a 350-ish distance or so, now the basket's actually tucked in way back here in the woods, and now it's like 400 and something feet probably. Definitely a little over 400 feet, but it does play a little bit downhill, so it's not quite playing the 400 or so feet, but definitely still requires, a pretty good amount of power and something that's going to fly really, really straight. And so that's how I was trying to do it with my official throw here off the tee. Unfortunately, you can kind of see it happen. I hit this tree and get knocked down. So this one I was trying a different approach to just kind of show you that you can also go to the right-hand side of that tree in the center of the fairway, and then you can just have it fade left at the end of the flight and kind of skip towards the basket at the end, which is what that one did. So this is my initial throw that got knocked down by the tree. And as you can see, the basket's right here, so it's still pretty easy to approach to set up for the par. If anything, I think the par actually might be easier to get. If, like, you stay on this side of the ditch, I think it's a little bit safer to go for par than it is on the other, because the other one had, like, a slope, and you could potentially go downhill if you threw it too hard. It actually could give you, like, a really tough comebacker. So this one, if you land anywhere around this bridge or just to the right of it, you definitely have a pretty clean approach, and my forward actually landed under the basket, and so that was a very easy par tap-in. And now the orange disc that I threw actually landed right there, so right here. And the basket's right there. So I was like kind of circle two. If I would have got maybe a little bit more of a skip, I could have got over the ditch and got over here and had a chance at a birdie putt. Or if I could have pushed it straighter for longer, maybe would have had a chance to putt through some of this stuff here. But all in all, still a pretty good throw. And so that does it for all of the new pin positions. And now I just want to do a little bit of an announcement. So I'm going to be commentating the post-produced coverage of this 28th City of Mobile Championships. I am about to get the footage here very soon to start laying down some commentary. And I will post a link in the description below to the YouTube channel that it will be on. It will be on the So Blue Productions YouTube channel. They do a lot of coverage for events in the Southeast U.S., and they've done the City Mobile Championships before as far as like filming and editing, all that good stuff goes, but they've invited me along to do the commentary this time around, so I will be doing that. Again, I will post a link to that channel below. Also, you can follow me on social media, and I will update you there on when the footage actually gets released for those rounds. And you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, though you can be updated on those things. And again, that will be posted in the description below. Also, if you're a gamer you can join my Discord server where I'll also post announcements on when content comes out and all that good stuff. And so without further ado, thanks so much for checking out this video, and I hope that you will check out the tournament coverage that I will be working on. I think it'll be nice to be able to try to bring over some of my commentary skills from esports and actually see if I can apply it to disc golf. And I think that's kind of my, path forward in disc golf. I don't think I'll ever be a professional player or anything like that, but I think that I could do content like this and build up the community and maybe, again, be able to dabble into commentary and bring those esports skills over and maybe get involved in more disc golf event coverage in the future. So this will be kind of my first run at it. And again, I hope that all of you will check it out, and I hope that you'll enjoy it. So thanks again. Catch you next time.